Hello, welcome to Planet Classroom. I am Orb. Join me as your virtual guide on a journey of global learning called Planet Classroom. You will hear stories from artists, musicians, dancers, technologists, game makers, filmmakers, innovators, and creators of all kinds from around the world. It's time to engage our imaginations, share our ideas, and explore solutions for a brighter future for all. Our planet is a classroom where learning together brings us together. Creative Visions, in association with Planet Classroom Network, has launched Shine, an innovative multimedia project that invites youth around the world to use their creativity and innovations to inspire new ideas that present a more positive future for all. Welcome to the first in a series of Shine podcasts, in which we will hear from talented directors, actors, filmmakers, activists, and more on their personal wishes and dreams for our collective future. Over 1.8 billion youth and adolescents represent about a quarter of the global population. What do they feel about our planet's future post-COVID-19?
A shift in perspective begins when new ideas are shared. Our interpretations of our lives and our creations make the world a brighter place. When we are true to ourselves and to our imagination,
we begin to shine. Rock Your World, a program of Creative Visions in association with the Planet Classroom Network, calls on you to send us your creative responses to the word shine.
We will gather your paintings,
photographs,
songs,
videos,
innovations, and other forms of expression to create a shining online gallery.
It's time to dazzle the world, to express yourself. It's time to shine.
The importance of art and creativity has been exhibited during the COVID-19 pandemic. What are your perspectives on the role and impact of creativity over the last 18 months? Based on what we learned so far from this pandemic, how do we better educate and prepare ourselves to support our local and global communities so that our planet can flourish?
My name's Camilla Hall. I'm a documentary film director from London. For me, I hope the post-COVID world will shine a light on the importance of mental health as we endeavour to get back to some kind of new normal. Emerging from the pandemic means emerging together, so I think before we even dream of a post-COVID world, we need to understand how we can make sure developing countries also become COVID-free. As a filmmaker, I've looked to the art of film to help get through COVID. All forms of art, from sketches to paintings to film and ceramics, can help us to stay inspired and heal after this traumatic period of our lives. To reform global learning, I think we need to focus more on the mental health of our world students. We need to be more understanding of what they may or may not be dealing with at home and provide better support to students who are struggling.
My name is Vama Kamara. I'm from Liberia in Africa, and I'm on Planet Classroom. After the pandemic, Youth Media Action looks forward to expanding her students' journalism programs to provide quality education and credible information to young people across Liberia. Information gap is a serious issue in our country, thus creating lots of misinformation, disinformation, and fake news. Youth Media Action has been working with young people through arts, creating short peer-to-peer educational videos on best ways COVID-19 can be prevented. To improve global learning, we need to improve educational technology for students to receive quality education from their homes or anywhere without meeting a teacher, and reduce the cost of internet, making it more affordable for all students regardless of economic status. We also need to incorporate more artistic ways to simplify lessons, making learning easy and fun instead of the conventional way. And finally, we need to put more emphasis on developing instructional materials.
My name is Izzy Kussman. I am from Los Angeles, California, and I'm on Planet Classroom. I would like to see more respect and appreciation within the world, more love, stronger relationships, and just a better developed community. During the pandemic, it was super important that we found humanity and expression that conveniently the arts created for us. And I think that it was a time where everyone had no choice but to value art, because it allowed us to communicate from afar when we couldn't collectively be together. And it was so funny that on Hollywood Boulevard, the Ripley's dinosaur was wearing a mask. And not just this dinosaur, but many statues around LA. And I found this to be a really clever way of spreading the community's values, public safety, and simply just like a friendly reminder to wear your mask. I truly feel that the pandemic or the world is just yelling at us to make this educational pivot, because it's something that we could have made a long time ago. One amazing example that I can use here is technology, removing these technological barriers, yet also acknowledging that relying strictly on technology is not an answer either. It will not be effective for all learners, but ensuring that everyone has access to the digital solutions that we resorted to in the COVID-19 pandemic, for example, is very important.
My name is Callie Charles, and I am on Planet Classroom. My hope for the world post-COVID-19 is that as we heal from this pandemic, that we would be bold enough to pursue our dreams and work towards the future we want to live in. This generation is filled with artists, engineers, and scientists who will be the next Einsteins, Picassos, and Darwins of the future of our world. My hope is that we will be empowered to speak our voice and make our mark upon the world. When everything was shut down at the beginning of the pandemic, people were no longer able to go on extravagant adventures like traveling to Hawaii or Italy. They were stuck exactly where they were. And I think for a lot of people, this opened their eyes to the beauty right around them. Instead of trying to find that beauty in exotic countries or special events, they learned to find that beauty in their family, their neighbors, their local stores, and scenery. Art is everywhere, in people's faces, in nature, in buildings, and of course in paintings, sculptures, drawings, and more. The restriction COVID-19 placed on us allowed us to see that more clearly.
My name is Gabe Eggerling. I'm from Southern California, and I'm on Planet Classroom. I hope that post-COVID-19, creativity will be allowed to flourish at in-person events, and that the increased empathy we've gained from our shared struggles with the pandemic will allow for more impactful art going forward. I think a greater emphasis on the arts and artistic expression is very crucial. I feel as though frequently it's pushed off as more of a hobby than a career choice in schools, but by opening that door of possibilities to our students, their creativity could be allowed to truly thrive. And finally, coming out of COVID, I learned to embrace the need to pivot. If we could teach and accept pivoting as a success rather than a failure on a global scale with our students, we would not only increase levels of empathy around the idea of pivoting, but we would also be able to help students find their true passions and what they love to do, while also getting rid of the fear of not succeeding in something and something not going your way.
My name is Annie Woodbury. I am from Boston, Massachusetts, and I am on Planet Classroom. 3 things in how we could reform global learning so that it supports the local and global good post-COVID are to acknowledge that learning will not be the same after going through a pandemic, People's mental health will matter more than ever, and we should promote more creative ways of learning and expressing ourselves. Levels of anxiety and depression rose due to COVID, and so many people struggled to get through the tough times. I dream of a world where mental health is considered more thoughtfully and carefully. Just because a pandemic is over does not mean caring about mental health is.
Hi, my name is Kate Cole. I'm from Marblehead, Massachusetts, and this is Planet Classroom. During the pandemic, art and writing helped me so much because it just let me escape from everything that was happening. Like in my story, if there's a wolf running away from a forest fire, I'm in my brain, that wolf is running away from a forest fire. And I don't have to worry about COVID and who's doing this and who's doing that and what's happening because I'm the wolf and I'm running through the forest fire. I'm not worrying about the pandemic because it lets me and allows me to put myself in something else's shoes, which just helps my brain escape and figure itself out. If I could change education after COVID, I would give students an outlet to be creative and express themselves easily. And I would probably have a club or something like that that could be run by kids to give kids voices and to not have, the adult principal be the one in charge, but maybe have a student council or a club that has some say in what the school decides because the kids know what's right for them, not the adults.
My name is Maya Gangan. I'm from New Jersey, and I'm on Planet Classroom. I hope that in a post-COVID-19 world, we as a country will have learned from the challenging experience of fighting a pandemic together and apply it to our daily life going forwards. Through the pandemic, I think we all learned a lot about the struggles of having both nationwide and global conversations. I'm hoping these skills of listening, learning, and changing can be applied to our local communities. We all spent this past year in some form of isolation and grappled with how to stay connected. Going forward, it would be great if we could keep that experience in mind and work together in order to collaborate on solutions for the issues which are impacting those within our own communities. As a rising junior in college practicing art, although I was deeply saddened by my inability to physically create in the studio, I do believe this past year filled with personal challenges and isolation fueled creativity for me as well for many of my peers. Much like the other popular quarantine activities such as exercising, journaling, meditating, and even spending time with my loved ones, I think art really helped many of us cope with what was going on in the world. And while I couldn't have an artistic community directly around me, I think for myself I remained inspired by the art I saw across social media by artists I knew and strangers who were experiencing the same thing. During this time, my perspective on art broadened as well, because even though I've always seen art as capable of connecting personal and public experiences, I now see art as educational and informative as well.
Hi, my name is Catherine Watts. I'm from Plano, Texas, and I'm on Planet Classroom. So I actually really like this phrase of we can't spell Earth without art. And I think the role of art, especially coming from someone who just recently finished an art degree, I think art as a whole during the COVID-19 pandemic has not only been used to spread awareness of conditions of those who may be less fortunate or who are lacking resources, as well as giving people a sense of hope and community, and overall just bringing a little bit of light to the darkness with artistic expression. I think that really kind of made things a little bit more bearable for people. I definitely would love to see communication centers or learning centers. I definitely think easier access would help alleviate a lot of the struggles of young students. And I probably also love to see just probably a community art program, like global artistic endeavors, helping people to bridge the gap between experiences in their life. So that we can learn from one another, and art is really the best way to do that because you don't necessarily need to understand written or spoken language, and it's a bit more accessible to those of us who may not necessarily be able to understand. And So that's really what I think would be probably the best ideas for reform from someone like me.
My name is Hannah Steele. I am from Denver, Colorado, and I'm on Planet Classroom. My personal wishes or dreams for the world post-COVID-19, I think one of them would have to be to not take all of the things that we used to take for granted anymore. To really enjoy the time that we have with the people that we love, and to also enjoy the little things, the little activities that we all do. Art during COVID-19 in my community was really impactful. There is a street down from my apartment called Broadway, where a lot of local businesses such as concert venues, bars, arcades, restaurants thrive. And because of the pandemic and because of lockdown, of course, they couldn't be in business. And the whole street was boarded up. It was extremely depressing. But throughout the months of it being boarded up, instead of just letting the severity of these businesses that hold a lot of sentimental value to a lot of people in Denver be so heavy, everybody decided to create murals on the boarded up businesses. It showed the true resilience that we have as humans. And I think that that is something truly beautiful that I can take away from the pandemic, and showing that art thrived, or at least was expressed in different ways. My perspective on art's role during the pandemic was it was a way for people to express themselves, to get them out of dark places, and allowed them to truly find solace in something during such a dark time in our history.
We certainly had a lot of good ideas to share with you. Thank you to all our international guests: Camilla, Varma, Izzy, Annie, Gabe, Callie, Kate, Hannah, Maya, and Catherine. Now it's your turn. Creative Visions and Planet Classroom Network invite you to shine your light by sharing your thoughts, feelings, hopes, and desires for the world you want through any medium: art, music, dance, drama, film, photography, short stories, or an innovative idea for a solution to a local or global problem. Log on to www.rock-your-world.org/shine. We look forward to sharing your shine. That's all, my human friends, for this week. I leave you with a reminder to explore your world, express yourself, discover, create, and use your imagination. Until next time, be kind, be curious, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.